Hello everyone, welcome to Jerry's International Student Finance. We're going to talk about how government policies like visas, taxes, and work rules directly impact your money as an international student. For this section, we're going to talk about why government policies matter. Most students, personal finance is about budgeting, tuition, or maybe a part-time job. But for international students abroad, government policies add a whole extra layer that affects everything. Few real-world examples that I briefly mentioned before: work restrictions, visa delays, and taxes. First, we have a few examples for work restrictions. A student gets paid internship offer but has to decline it because of the CPT, which is a work authorization for internships while studying, which wasn't approved in time, causing him to lose income for the semester. Second, we're going to talk about visa delays. Another example is another student's visa's interview is delayed, forcing her to defer her program and rebook her flights, causing her hundreds of dollars in new fees and travel costs. Last, we're going to talk about taxes. First, before we start with taxes, we need to define a few terms. First, the OPT, which is up to 12 months of work authorization before completing a degree, allowing F1 students to work in a field related to their major. And second, FICA, which is U.S. payroll taxes for Social Security, and Medicare. An example is a F1 student earns about $900 a month. When he moves to OPT, he suddenly starts paying FICA taxes, so his take-home pay drops, even though his salary stays the same, leading to less money for rent and other essentials. Finally, these small policy rules create big financial consequences if you don't manage them correctly. So section 2 is about how policies affect tuition, living expenses, and work. Government policies shape your biggest expenses: tuitions, living costs, and income. In this section, we're going to mention some quick real-world examples. First, about tuition costs, required travel, and work limitations and health insurance. First, tuition costs. An F1 student lives in-state but can't qualify for an in-state tuition in most states, which causes an impact of he pays 2 to 3 times more than domestic students. Second, we're going to talk about required travel. An example of this is a student needs to renew her visa. Interview waivers aren't available, so she has to fly home for an in-person interview. The impact of this are her flights, visa fees, missed work, all her unplanned expenses come into account. Third, work limitations. A student gets offered a remote part-time job with great pay, but F1 rules don't allow off-campus remote work without a CPT/OPT that we mentioned before. The impacts of this are that he or she loses a job opportunity to gain some more money. Fourth, last for this section, we're going to talk about health insurance. In some states like Massachusetts, international students must buy the university's insurance plan, which is even if they have cheaper coverage for home, the impact of this is higher yearly costs that you can't even opt out of, and it's higher tuition for the college. Lastly, in episode 2, we'll dive into one of our very first financial steps you'll face: visa application costs. Thank you for watching. If you want to acknowledge more about how current policies affect your financial life as an international student, stay tuned and follow my channel.